Hey everybody, welcome back to the High Performance Zone. Today, I am so excited to have Kate Eckman. She's a brand new author. Book's coming out on Tuesday, the 27th of April, called The Full Spirited Workout. But here's what's really cool, all right? And that is what she is all about in spiritual fitness. So Kate, first off, welcome to the zone. Glad to be here.
Hey, John, thank you so much for having me. It's my joy to be here.
Awesome. Hey, Kate, your background is so incredible. Could you give us just a little bit of what you've done prior to this incredible life that you're living right now? I know that you're a White House correspondent. You're currently a TV host, a lot on QVC. You've done so many cool things in your life. Give me a little background on that.
Sure. So, a lot of people recently, when I'm doing press for this book, say, wow, your background is overwhelming and a bit exhausting. Well, thank you. Think how I've felt living it. I mean, it's been great, but I do feel like a cat that's had 9 lives. And my life really started with athletics. I had a 17-year competitive swimming career, swam all through college at Penn State, and always wanted to make the Olympics. Didn't happen, but it's okay. Still was able to compete at a high level. And then I've just gone on to have a pretty forward-facing career as a TV news anchor and reporter, like you said, and a TV host, and working abroad in countries like Germany and Italy on camera with a translator, which is always exciting and insane, because the host is talking and talking and talking, and my translator is giving me a couple of words. I'm like, they're saying a lot more than that, but you gotta be present. You got to go with it. And I fell into a modeling career that I never wanted and never thought that I would have, but I learned so much about myself for that. And I think that's just a testament that so many of the experiences that we have there, in that case for me, to really get to know myself on a deeper level and heal a lot of insecurities that I didn't even know that I had, and meet some people I needed to meet, obviously. And yeah, I've translated that on-camera career. I went back to school and really studied neuroscience and positive psychology and whole person coaching techniques at Columbia University. And for the past, 7 years, have been working with clients, business leaders and professional athletes and college athletes, and really on mindfulness and performance and building confidence from within. There's this misconception, everyone's like, well, I have confidence. And I think a lot of people have what I call performance confidence. They can, fake it till you make it, show up and dial it in. But I'm talking about that inner confidence that can weather any storm, and that has to be cultivated from within. So all of this to say, all of these experiences and my different background and training, I'm a journalist. So I was writing all these articles for different publications, and a book was just the next natural step. The project became way bigger than me.
I know that. Yeah.
You know how that goes. And so, it has been a journey, and I'm just, as your shirt says, I'm glad to be here.
Well, that's the theme of this show, really, this appreciation and gratitude. But it's tied into high performance. That's what I want to tie back to some of your background. And then let's dive into your book. But, I'm intrigued with your swimming background. So 17 years, you must have started very young, as a child. And weren't you an academic All-American? You weren't only good in swimming, but in academics?
Yeah, I was kind of a nerd, and I realized pretty quickly, especially at a school like Penn State with the football team and these high revenue sports, and nobody cares about swimming except for the Olympics. And also, I'm not Michael Phelps. And unless you are a Michael Phelps, there really is nothing after that. There's no professional swimming. And I was there to get an education. And that's one of the reasons I chose Penn State, because the women's swim team had the highest cumulative GPA in all of Division I sports.
No kidding.
I thought that was so cool. And that
cool.
The coach valued intelligence and academics in addition to athletics. So it really was a perfect marriage between the two.
Well, and I am so, and our audience is so enthralled with cognitive science, right? I really like to learn, how does the brain work? Because we've learned it both ways, right? One is from a performance standpoint. When I was on the Blue Angels and some of the things that I've done, I was performing at a high level, but I didn't know why. And it's really cool to unpack and go, wait a minute, that the pregame, the focus, the visualization. I know you're a meditation teacher, so I can't wait to dive in to all these, but give me this, just the high level. Why did you choose cognitive science, and what is it really given you?
I think for me, I am as someone who is a bit obsessive, and I actually speak very openly in the book about my obsession with performance and my
Okay.
obsession with perfectionism. And when we think of something that can be limiting us or that is painful to us, it always has an origin story where we picked up some limiting belief. We made
Yep.
some lie a core belief. And for me, that origin story was being the 4 or 5 year old at the swim club and being in swim lessons, which I hated, by the way.
Oh,
And
interesting.
right. And
Now, wait a
over,
minute. Did you ever get to like it, or did you
of
just
course,
power through? Okay, got
yes.
it. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
I did. I loved it. I think my the very beginning and the very end of my swimming career, I kind of hated, but everything in the
Okay.
middle, I loved, and it was my life. But my obsession with performance was hearing this swim instructor communicate to my mom something along the lines of that I'm not a very good swimmer.
Oh,
And
you heard that.
how sad for me as an
Yeah.
adult to think of my 4 year old self who
Right.
who thought to herself, oh gosh, I want my mom and dad to be proud of me. I love
Right.
them, and I don't want them to have a daughter who's a bad swimmer, especially
Yeah.
since they're so athletic. And then what that did to just push me to, and then at that same swim club, I mean, at 18, I had all but 2 records on the at the pool. You know what I mean? In every event and every age group. And it speaks to that obsession. And you would think
Yeah.
I would feel on top of the world as, a state champion and national champion and the scholarship to Penn State. But I was filled with anxiety of
Yeah.
always having to be that, because I had, my little brain had translated, oh, I have to perform at a high level to be worthy, to be loved, to feel safe. So my parents are proud of me. So some stranger at the swim club thinks I'm cool or is impressed by me. And we all do this, by the way. We just aren't conscious that we're doing it. And then you go about your life and you collect evidence for why that thought is true, rather than collecting evidence on why the truth is true, or why, or collecting compliments or things that
Yeah.
make your self-esteem greater. So I've always been, I think, fascinated by the way that the brain works, and two truths about the brain, right? It's lazy,
Ah,
and it doesn't like gaps. And that's why we create all
okay.
these things where, like, even right now, let's say you give me some strange look. My brain doesn't like gaps. So it's like, oh, he doesn't like me. Oh, he thinks that my shirt is ugly. Oh, again, lies, not true. I don't know what you're thinking. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it doesn't matter anyway. Only my thoughts and feelings do. But I have studied the brain so much because it really determines the kind of quality of life that we're going to have based on the quality
Yes.
of thoughts that we have and what we feed it.
Hey, let's do something real quick because I love the idea of gratitude. That's this glad to be here shirt. And I believe that gratitude can help change the brain, right? So let's go through just a fun little thing, because the example you gave, which I hope I wasn't giving you a bad look. I don't think so. I
No,
think I
you
was
weren't. I
smiling.
was making
I
that
know.
up, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're amazing.
exactly. Exactly. But let's do this because this will help everybody. So I like to dive into gratitude every single day. Do you have a personal practice on gratitude? How have you used gratitude in your own life?
I love this question, and I'll take it. Of course, I, write down gratitudes, things like that. I
You
think the
do. So you
most,
have a journal. You have a gratitude
I,
journal.
I do have a journal, and I,
Okay.
I consciously think my favorite way to practice gratitude is to tell the people who I'm grateful for that I am grateful for them. So
Nice.
even right now, launching a new website, I mean, I speak to my web team. There's like 14 of them. I
Yeah.
speak to them like we're dating or married. It's like, love you. Thank you. XO.
Oh,
I honor the work that you're doing. Thank you so hard for working so hard for me. And I have these, that's how I speak to everyone I do business and life with. And I get so many responses from people, which I can tell that nobody speaks to them that way, because they say, your email made my day.
wow.
Wow, you signed your email with, I appreciate you. I've been in business 30 years. No one has ever said, I appreciate you. And I think, how sad is that? So
Yeah.
that's my way to do it. I'm a words of affirmation, love language type of gal, but my favorite, and I invite you and anybody listening to this to do this exercise, because it will change your life. And I write about it in the book. It's not my idea. It comes from Marty Seligman, who's the founder of positive
Oh, yes.
psychology. And
Yes.
he did this TED talk that blew me away. And he talked about the idea of a gratitude visit, and call up someone that comes to mind who has transformed your life in some way that you've never properly thanked, and write them a 300-word letter, and then show up at their house. Don't tell them why, and read them this letter. And now
Whoa.
you can invite them to Zoom and read it over Zoom. But I did this with my friend Vanessa, and it was life-changing. And it brought up my feelings of well-being. It brought up her feelings of well-being. And we both will cherish that conversation forever, because here's the thing. We all think we want to feel better. We need to make more money. We need to look better. We need to get all these shiny objects, but research even indicates, and I've proven this through my own life, none of that stuff really changes our well-being. It doesn't move the needle. You might feel really happy for 15 minutes, but then it's on to the next thing. I want even more money. I want an even better, And so, but things like gratitude, like you said, and savoring, acts of kindness, they are proven. And we know this because it's how you feel. They change your well-being. They change your brain.
Yeah. Let's dive into some of the science here real quick. But first, I'm going to take your cue. And Matthew, our show producer, who is behind the scenes here, I just want to say, Matthew, thank you, for doing such an amazing job in not only producing this show, but all the things you do for me. Sometimes I'm always asking about the gaps, and I just want to make sure that you appreciate that, I appreciate you. So I just got that from Kate. Thank you, Kate. You're making me a better person already. And I
love that. And just even witnessing that and hearing it, I feel better. And it's like, even when I came to the show, I was like, I'm so sorry. I clicked on the wrong link. And, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's just taking a moment. I think there's an epidemic in our world right now where we are not seeing each other. And it's firing me up. And
go. I want to hear more about this.
So this is painful, right? Because I think of people in my life who love me or who claim to love me, who do not see me, who do not hear me, who do not acknowledge me. This is something that is free. It takes 2 seconds. It makes the other person feel like $1 million and makes you feel like $1 million. So why aren't we doing this? And I think some people, they don't see themselves because they haven't taken the time to do that. So then they can't see you, or they don't see themselves in your decisions, your choices, your lifestyle. And so it's this aura of being dismissive, and it is gross. It makes me angry because it is so painful for someone who, loves you, be in your presence. And I'm like, you're not even seeing me or hearing me. And this is coming up for me a lot, John, because I'm doing a lot of press for the book. I'm meeting incredible people like you. And I am connecting more deeply with people I've known for an hour than people who have known me for years. People like you are able to see me. I'm able to see you more clearly, in a more impactful, genuine way than people who have known us our whole lives. And so rather, I do have my moments where I am in a place of frustration, but then I flip that into, then you make sure that you see every person you come into contact with, whether it's the checkout person at Trader Joe's, the person at the gas station, your boss, your friend, whomever. I see you. And as psychologist Susan David would say, by seeing me, you bring me into existence. And that is so powerful.
Wow. What does seeing you mean though? I hear when you say that, but I know sometimes I struggle because actually my wife has told me those exact words, that you're not seeing me. And so I really want to learn this for myself, but really everybody else on this call. What does it mean to you when you say, I want to be seen. I want to be seeing me. What does that mean?
So for example, right now I've got so much going on, launching a book. So I don't need a lot from people. Here's someone seeing me. Wow, you are working so hard. I am so proud of you. I honor the work that you're doing. Maybe your wife is struggling emotionally for whatever reason today. I think, I don't want to speak for her. I've been her. I've struggled emotionally before, and I'm a woman. And so what I would like from my partner is to be like, hey, hon, seems like you're, really going through a hard time today. Is there anything I can do for you? Or, do you want to talk about this? Or what would make you feel good right now? Can I get you something? Rather than like, why are you in a bad mood? Or noticing that your wife is struggling and choosing to be like, oh, she's in a bad mood. I'm going to go upstairs. Or I'm out of here.
Well, I got to tell you, I've done that. Okay. You were talking about men and women. We don't want to generalize too much, but this idea of me, I tend to escape. If I see conflict and I don't want to be part of that, my idea is to avoid it, and maybe it'll change. And I know that is not the best strategy, by the way. So thank you for those words you just gave me. Really helped, because that brought context, but very specific to that situation. There was something that happened in your life, a key thing that happened in your life. What was that?
Yeah. So, I was on the hamster wheel that we all are on, and just overworked and just going a million miles a minute, living in New York City. And I lost not one, but two dear friends to suicide almost a year to the day of one another. And one was my ex-boyfriend, and another was like the love of my life. We were best friends, knew him forever. And it really brought up a lot of grief, losing them and the shock and horror of it. But also it made me really look at myself and the way I was choosing to live my life, who, like most people, was so concerned with what other people thought. This whole societal standard that it's all about what you look like, how much money you make, all of those things that we all internalize. And so when we do that, we can never have enough or be enough. And the lifestyle I was living was not sustainable. And I probably would have continued. And quite frankly, their death scared me. And there was a moment where I thought, am I going to end up like them? And I talk about this moment in a pharmacy in Duane Reade on 8th Avenue in Manhattan, and getting a prescription because I was having a panic attack shortly after Sam's death. And just wanting to take the whole bottle, not because I wanted my life to end. I just wanted the pain to go away, whatever that took. And I caught a glimpse into what they may have been feeling. And it shook me to my core. And luckily, unlike them, who are men who were taught to keep it all in and not talk about it and keep that stiff upper lip and be a man, I was willing to cry in front of the pharmacist. I thank God reached out to my brother, and by a miracle, because he never answered his phone. He's a doctor. So I had a professional on the phone with me to navigate through that moment. I don't want to think of where I would be if I didn't reach out for help, if I pretended everything was fine. It scares me. I like to speak openly about it. You never grow up and think that you're going to speak openly about suicide, which no one wants to talk about, by the way, or that you're going to talk about dark moments when people are like, but you're so happy and you're so this. Yeah. And I think I'm so happy because I've been so sad, and I've allowed myself to go there and acknowledge it, and then create the tools to come out of it and genuinely live a life that lights me up. I'm not just talking about it. I'm living it. That's the deal, right? That's not just posting a quote on Instagram. You got to believe it, and you got to live it.
Well, you can feel it. You can feel it in your life right now. So powerful what you just shared. Thank you. I know that, Tim Ferriss talks a lot about suicide. We got to get you on his podcast, by the way.
I'd love that.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But what you were talking about was hitting deep in my heart. I remember when I was dating my future wife, but at the time she broke up with me, and it was the third time she broke up with me, by the way. Okay. And I remember it dropped me to the core. I was very, very sad. And I felt, how you feel when your guts are getting ripped out, and all of a sudden I got into a meditative state, and I started to go deep inside that pain. Right. And then another thought hit my head. It took about 20 minutes. Right. But another thought hit my head, and that was, well, I had just met somebody else. We had already broken up. And I thought, wait a minute, all of a sudden there was this opportunity, and I could feel my emotions, my body completely change from fear and doubt and sadness to hope. Okay. And deeper feelings. But the reason I bring this up, though, here's what was really profound for me. And I know you're a meditation teacher, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Was all of a sudden I realized that both of those feelings were actually fairly similar, not completely opposite. The sheer pain and the sheer joy, when I really dived into, well, what does that feel like in the body? I went, wait a minute, they're not polar opposites. And then here's what was the really cool aha is then I realized they don't even exist. They only exist by the label that I was putting on it in that moment. And that gave me freedom. All of a sudden, I felt like everything's going to be okay. So I thank you for allowing me to share that. I've never shared that on a podcast. I've never shared that anyhow, but it was an experience. And I know you've had, I can only assume, have you had something similar to that? How do you deal with those two extremes?
Yeah, I think I've become practiced, and thank you for sharing that story, by the way. I really appreciate it. That is my wish for everyone, to just start just sharing their stories, the stuff we don't tell people for whatever reason. This whole shame culture has got to go. I refuse to participate in it anymore. And so thank you. And especially I love men, not to sound whatever, but men just talking about their feelings. It's such a foreign concept. I mean, they even teach you as a woman, like, don't ask a man about his feelings, ask him about his thoughts. I'm like, no, I want to know about his feelings. But I think speaking of feelings and emotions, I've learned to not judge them when they come up. Because it's not the feelings, and really emotions only stay in our body for like 60 to 90 seconds or something like that. And anything past that, you're holding on to a story about what that pain means. You're judging yourself, or, oh, I should just be happy. And that whole toxic positivity thing that's going around too. I think when I just allow myself to feel it, and it can be painful. I'm not pretending it isn't, it's uncomfortable, but I'm like, oh, this is here. And even making friends with those emotions, like, what's up? Like, what are you here to teach me? What do you need me to know? And I think for me, shifting it into, wow, I'm feeling a lot of pain or sadness around this situation. And it's because I really valued this relationship, and the person is no longer behaving like they used to. And so it feels hurtful. But just recognizing, and it's like, oh, a value of mine is being challenged. I value connection. I value honesty. This person is no longer willing to connect with me in a deep way. This person is no longer being honest about where he is. So it's upsetting. But when you can name it, it's like, oh, well, that's why I'm upset, because I value this. And then it just it leaves your body. And I think if you just let it pass through, and then you get to move on from it, because you don't deal with your emotions. They get stuck literally in your fascia tissue. At some point, it's going to come out. It ain't going to be pretty. So it's just get it out now, call a friend, go for a walk. Nothing moves energy like motion. Get on your treadmill, go for a walk, literally walk it out. There's even a song that walk it out. I'm not going to sing and hurt everybody's ears, but I think it's just being an acceptance of who we are and where we are, and valuing our emotions rather than judging them.
Wow. You keyed on something here, that mind-body connection, how we carry emotions in our body. And I was thinking about, because I do a lot of yoga and I do a lot of meditation, but I also do a lot of hiking. I do a lot of mountain biking. I'm here in Sun Valley. We were talking about that, skiing. And I find when I get out into nature, when I actually get physical movement, it means so much. I feel so much better. And we know exercise is good for you and all that kind of stuff. But even on the psychological side, exercise seems to help me a lot. At the same time, the meditation or the focused awareness helps me too. So I kind of think they're two sides to the same coin. You talked about Martin Seligman, right? Positive psychology, right? And you actually are a meditation teacher. You're an Insight Timer, by the way. I'm on Insight Timer. Love it. So tell me a little bit about how you use meditation and let's say the inner outer workings of the body.
Sure. So I have no chill, John. Like, I'm not a patient, chill person. I am I'm not chill. And so I need meditation to ground me, to connect me back to my truth and my center, and take me home to that place within myself where, you can't be rejected. You can't be criticized. Your spirit is invincible. We just don't spend a lot of time connecting with it. And so I
just want to reinforce something real quick. Your spirit is invincible. I love that. If you really believe that, I think everybody should, then nothing can harm you. Even in a lot of the spiritual teachings, it talks about they can destroy the body, but they can't destroy the spirit. So that's a huge point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And whether you believe in afterlife or not, like our spirit, our soul is
Yeah.
eternal. And so, or it's even, I'm not a religious person, but I love the saying that says the Christ in you cannot be crucified. And I
Nice.
just, that's so powerful. So people that
Yes.
are into that, I think they'll resonate with that. But I think meditation just, it slows us down. It reconnects us to our breath in the present moment, and our breath in the present moment are always perfect. And when we're not obsessing about the past or future and can just dwell within, meditation is a tool to accelerate your achievements and performance. And because you're becoming practiced at listening to this divine wisdom that we always have available to us. It's just, we ignore it. We get some insight and think, oh gosh, I don't want to do that. I didn't hear that. Never mind. Or we don't want to believe the truth. Sometimes the truth is, the truth is always you are powerful, but people, that scares them. We're more comfortable in our fears and in I'm not good enough than we are in I'm powerful, I'm great, I'm going to show up like I mean it and impact the world. It's almost like you feel arrogant when you say that, but we've got it backwards. When you think of where you come from, how you were created, you are powerful. And I think it's just meditation is that tool to ground and center and remind you who you are. And for me, it just helps me stay clear and be able to say what I want to say, without, when you're telling somebody off, you need to go meditate because you've you know what I mean? And we've all been there, right? Where it's like, you need to go sit your butt down. Or how about the people who say, I don't have time to meditate? I say to that, well, I don't have time to be angry. I don't have time to be overwhelmed. I don't have time to say something that I'm going to regret that's going to ruin a friendship forever. I don't have time to be exhausted. That's what I don't have time for.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great come back to something that doesn't make sense. I don't have time. That even though many times I've woken up and said, I got to get moving on my day. And then I go, wait a minute, even like 1 or 2 minutes. In fact, we're actually working with an organization once a week. I take them through a leadership, some kind of training. And one of the things we dived into very deeply is resiliency. And part of that resiliency is this ability to have focused awareness. And meditation is a tool. It's one of the tools, right, that allows us to center ourselves, allows us to get grounded. You use that word before. And it's really cool because I'm seeing such a change in the organization. We use the Zoom, we do breakout rooms, and people are actually enjoying it. And I only take them through about a minute in the beginning and a minute at the end. All right. But it's enough to start to get people to realize I need to block out distractions. How do I block out those negative thoughts, right? Or any thoughts, honestly, even positive ones, be present in the moment. So we're having a lot of success for that. We're seeing it in the workplace, which is kind of cool now. Like 5 years ago, it was vogue, but now it's getting more commonplace to realize that the idea of, I like to say awareness, the idea of mindfulness and awareness is so powerful in one's life. What types of meditations do you teach? There's so many out there. Which ones do you like to teach?
I do guided meditations. I like to take people on a journey and use a lot of language that, again, reminds them of their power and of their greatness, and positive affirmations that they can repeat silently to themselves or out loud, and really make it a practice, and taking them to that place deep within, and using different techniques with that. And what's great about this is all the meditations in my book are on my website, and they're free. So you can go play them, and, they're professionally mixed and mastered, of course. So it's just, there's that, I did them with high frequency. So you really do feel it in your whole body, and it changes your brain waves, and it changes that physical makeup. And so I think people oftentimes take a journey through alcohol or drugs or whatever they want to do, and without any judgment, do what you need to do. But this is a journey that's you're actually going to get rewards from, and you're going to yield results from. And the more that you do it, it does have cumulative benefits and effects. But I really like to incorporate lessons into my meditation. So as you are relaxed, you're just seeping that into your subconscious mind, because we've got so much in our subconscious minds that tell us how we don't add up. We're not good enough. We're not this. So deleting those out and then reprogramming, like a computer, reprogramming the brain and the subconscious with thoughts that are actually going to serve you, and making that your core belief system, and living your life from that powerful truth, so that you automatically attract the people and relationships and opportunities and experiences, rather than striving to get this or do that or make it happen. You just become the person who attracts it all. It sounds like magic, but it is a practice. People think of physical fitness. You don't just show up at the gym in your cute outfit and expect to be fit. You got to sweat. You got to do the push-ups and sit-ups. No one can do the push-ups and sit-ups for you. And the same with our inner musculature.
Wow. I know your book is coming out here. It's going to come out on Tuesday while we're filming this. You'll probably be a #1 bestseller by the time this gets out, which we're going to get out quickly though. So everybody, I want everybody to know about this book. Let's unpack it a little bit. And you talked about the positive affirmations, or I would even say a mantra. What are some of those that are in the book that you share with people?
One that leads off step 7, which is step up your spiritual stamina. And I share, and I posted this on social media probably a year and a half ago, and it ended up going viral. And that's not about me, because it was just, again, I was doing it was a divine download, inner wisdom that I got. Yeah. And I shared it, and it's not about me or my words. It's about that this message of relief and surrender, which I'll tell you in a second, it just resonated with so many people. And the mantra is, being okay if it happens and okay if it doesn't is a very powerful place to be.
Wow.
And that is not just understanding those words intellectually, it's grounding that into your heart, into your body. Meaning, I really, and I write about this in the book, I really, really want to get this book deal because I have a strong why. A lot of people need this message. And when you have a traditional publishing deal, you can reach a lot more people, I think. And so it was important to me to go that route. And, I was getting rejections.
Who is your publisher?
New World Library. So they've done a lot of Eckhart Tolle books and things like that. It's books that change lives. And, I was struggling with a lot of rejection, and in that place of like, what the hell is going on, and the frustration that you feel. And I got those words, and I was able to just release this. We grip on so tightly to our goals. We want what we want, when we want it. And usually we want it right now, right? Like, we don't want to wait. And actually the word patience stems from the words to suffer. Patience really, it comes from the Latin word, which means suffering. That's why we don't want to wait. We're so impatient, but doing these practices of really, like, let's say I really want you to hire me to come work for you. And I want it so badly. My obsession with wanting you to hire me is actually repelling you from hiring me. If I can put it out there, like, if he hires me, great. If he doesn't, then I won't even think about it. I'm going to move on with my life. I'll probably get some other job offers, and you'll call me up and say, hey, I'd like to hire you. But it's kind of that notion of surrender your desire and it will be yours. But I think it is the practice of being okay if it happens, whatever it is, whatever goal just came to your mind is great. If it doesn't happen, great, because you know what? You'll get another opportunity. I'm not even going to say it's bigger or better. It's just different. And it's for your higher purpose and for the higher purpose of everyone involved, and just loosening your grip, taking the action you need to take, and then relaxing into trust. Like you have to exercise your trust muscle.
I love the idea of relaxing into trust. That's another one. Post that. That's going to go viral too, because that's really powerful. Relaxing into trust. You were talking about non-attachment really in a lot of ways, but you said it even more beautifully. If it happens, okay. And if it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. Right. I think that's so hard, especially when it's meaningful. It might be a relationship. It might be a job. It seems like the more we grasp to something, the harder it gets. Right.
Yeah. And I think too, things that haven't worked out for me. I mean, I look back, I'll use relationships, and I think of, I'm thinking of a man right now. Oh man, I really wanted to be with this guy. And it didn't work out. And I look back now, I saw a picture of him the other day, and I said this with love, but I thought, I am so glad I am not with him, and that didn't work out. And with all love and respect to him, but I think sometimes that happens. And even something recently that happened to me, and I immediately, because I am so practiced at this surrender step, I got the intuitive hit that I'm like, oh, this is the universe protecting me from this situation or this person, or there's something else for me, and being excited and delighted. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what's coming, because this is a no. I thought it was a yes. It turns out it's a no. And rejection doesn't even faze me anymore, because whenever I'm rejected in any way, shape, or form, personally or professionally, I'm just like, wow, I'm being protected. Thank you. And I can't wait to see what's coming my way next. Ooh.
What a great place to be. I mean, that's
what a great place to be.
Yeah, I was thinking back to the idea of patience. There's the 6 perfections out there. It's a spiritual belief in the Far East. And the third one is patience. But what it really gets us is just what you mentioned earlier, not being angry. That's the key. I mean, the key of you're not being patient just to be patient. What you overcome is anger and even frustration, and we all get those little levels, how you can slice it, or the onion skin, right? But so I just wanted to reconnect on patience, but I wanted to go back now to a little bit more of the mantras or some other beautiful positive affirmations. So I love that one. You got another one you can share with us?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so hard. There are so many within each chapter. And then I even end each chapter or step. I call them steps, not chapters, because it's a 10-step system, but with an affirmation. And it is designed to, after the journal exercises, after the meditations, to really, and then there's a Coach Kate check-in where I'm asking you heartfelt, but really gritty questions to get in there, get underneath the hood of the car, and really find out who you are, what you really want. And then the affirmations just really then grounding that knowledge into the body. So thinking of one off the top of my head, I'm being bombarded with a million right now. But yeah, so I can't even pick a favorite right now. That one I said because it's my quote that leads off that step. But I think even affirmation that I use often is, or whatever, it's interchangeable, a mantra and affirmation. But I always say what's best for me is either already here or on its way.
That's nice.
Peaceful, right?
Yeah. Hey, when does an affirmation become a belief?
Wow, what a great question. I don't have the data on that, but I think that just like, I think of athletes, right? Because I was an athlete, you're athletic, and Tom Brady has been coming to my mind so much. And I laugh because we're the same age. We are both Big Ten athletes. He's still winning Super Bowls, and my knees hurt when I go to Pilates. So I think, God bless Tom Brady, right? This is a disciplined man. And so, I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but I would think that you got to kind of be like Tom Brady with your affirmations. You don't go to practice sporadically. You don't just show up when you feel like it. You show up all the time. You go to bed early. You eat healthy. You hire all these coaches, not because you're the worst, but because you're the best. So I don't know how many times it is. So what I will say is, how about you do it every day? We eat every day. We sleep every day. We need to move our bodies every day. Why don't we say an affirmation to ourselves every day? Again, I don't have time. I'm like, well, you're just on Instagram for 2 hours and you are comparing yourself to everybody, consciously or subconsciously. You feel like crap. So how about turn off Instagram and do some affirmations? Read them, write them, whatever you need to do. And it sounds so simple because it is. It's just, it is a practice, and people are more conditioned to eat the junk food. It's like everyone wants to eat the sugar or like go to the fast food restaurant. It's like, I don't want to eat the salad tonight. I want the pizza. But it's just, it's like, how do you want to feel? And that's like so many people say, I want to write a book. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I think that's great. But my next thought is, no, you don't. Because if you really wanted to be doing that, you'd be doing it. If you really wanted to see your wife in the way that would feel good for her, you would practice seeing her. You're not always going to get it right. You don't know what she's thinking or feeling all the time. And she is responsible for her own well-being. But when it becomes a practice, we're changing our default setting. So that's what the affirmations do. You're changing your default system to a system that says, I am worthy, I am loved, I am valuable, rather than I don't add up, I can't do this. I'm stressed. Because when you're in that mentality, think how you're going to treat people. You're not going to be doing your goals. You're going to be too pissed off and exhausted.
Wow. So deep. I know there's a lot of science that backs up what you're talking about. I think the key, as far as an affirmation, I think they're a starting point, right? And I think what I heard you say is I'm glad you have the 10 steps, right? That you have to also have a process and be disciplined. Use Tom Brady as an example. I one time heard the definition of discipline was just delayed gratification. I was like, great. I can hold on to that. That sounds a lot more fun, right? I see the aha in your eyes, which is so cool, right? But this idea of an affirmation is a great starting point. Put in the practice, your 10 steps, and then they become beliefs, which I think you feel. They're not intellectual. I believe beliefs
in your body.
Exactly.
Yeah. Something that just came up to me, which I've been thinking about a lot, which is interesting because I am not a parent. I'm a proud auntie. I'm an auntie to everybody's kids, but I do have a niece and nephew who I love more than anything. But what we're talking about is like parenting. You don't get to wake up and say, I don't feel like being a parent today. It's hard. Right. My kids are driving me nuts, whatever. You can send them to grandma's. You can hire a babysitter and go out to eat, but you're coming home and you still got kids. There's no erasing. I have children and I don't want to be a parent. It's just, and that's kind of how it is with these practices. You don't get just to say, well, I feel pretty good, so I never need to meditate again. Or I'm getting along with my wife, so I don't really need to practice seeing her anymore. She's good. I saw her last Thursday for 5 minutes. It was fine. You know, like you have to keep doing it.
Good luck on that plan. You won't. Exactly.
I was nice to my wife in February. We're good now.
You know, I wanted to, as we think about wrapping this up, I wanted to dive into two things before we finish up. One is back to your QVC. You did a lot on QVC, right? Was Tova still part of the QVC network, Tova Borgnine at that point? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know.
Tova started her. Ernest Borgnine is an honorary Blue Angel, and he really supported the team. And so we got to know him, but also his wife, Tova. And I actually flew her in the back seat of my jet. I was the number 7 pilot that year. And so I got to fly all the VIPs and key influencers. And Tova was so cute. She didn't want, we put her in the helmet and she had her hair perfect like you, and she looked great. And we went flying. Well, you can imagine being in a jet, right? I mean, you come out, you're sweating, your mascara's running. Of course, the TV cameras hit us. I think it was for Entertainment Tonight. I can't remember what we were doing it for. And she wouldn't take off her helmet because she knew she'd have a bad hair day, right? You know, and we laughed about it, but we've been actually good friends since there. And I was able to go by and spend some time with her. But the reason I brought that up was, tell me about your experience on QVC. How was that for you?
Sure. First of all, I love that story, and you are a badass. And I that sounds scary to me, doing that and talk about having to be present. You've got that nice. Down. You've got that down. That's so impressive. And I honor you for doing that. QVC, what I love about QVC, besides I love beauty products. I love, talking when I find stuff I like, I want to tell everybody about it. I loved connecting with the hosts and everyone there. I think my takeaway from QVC is the importance, just like you flying the planes, of being present. It's live television. Everything that can and will go wrong at some point can and will go wrong. It's insane. And you have to be so present. And I remember doing this walkthrough with a host, and we were going to do A, B, and C. Well, we went live and we were going T, W, Y, and you just have to roll with it. And I think it's that you got to go with the flow. You got to be present. You got to have fun. And what I taught myself there as the recovering perfectionist and the person obsessed with performance is that, I would ask myself 2 questions every time I walked off stage. I would say, did you do your best? Did you have fun? And if I could say yes to those 2 questions, I said, well, then it was a success. Regardless of what the number said, regardless of what anyone thought, I did my best. I had fun, then you're a success. And that's how I define success.
Whoa, that'll be in the show notes. I want everybody to realize that is very powerful. Did I do my best? and did I have fun? And I want to really echo the fun part too. I think that's in life, to me, that's what comes from the heart. For me, joyful effort is really about having fun, and that's the key. Do we want to put in effort? Of course, you did it in swimming, you did it in your career, you did it writing a book, right? But the joyful piece changes everything, right? Not just the effort.
Yeah. And then your goals have more meaning, and then you can share that with someone else. And quite frankly, you can I've been this person, achieve all the goals in the world. But if you aren't having fun,
Yeah.
then you're not happy. And then you're in that place of, what am I doing all of this for? And is this as good as it gets? And that's so many of my clients. They are so successful. They've got more money than they know what to do with, but they're left with, what does all of this mean? Yeah. What legacy do I want to leave behind? That I made millions of dollars? Yawn. What else, And so that's where they're really getting, and it's teasing them out of that and getting them to see that, or them to think, well, someone's already written about this, or I have to, all the externals. And it's just taking the focus back into who you are. And that's what you're unique, and bringing out that unique gift and leveraging those strengths to find the meaning, rather than it, because this, it's just like, at some point it's like, what is another $1 million? What is another TV gig? What is another this? Something's missing. And I think something's missing for so many people, because they're programmed into societal standards, many of which they don't believe in, and they aren't getting enough social connection. They aren't doing the gratitude practices. They aren't making acts of kindness or service a priority, because they're too busy doing all that other stuff that we're told we have to do to be worthy of anything. And it's a lie. And it's just about acknowledging that it's a lie and creating your own rules and your own truth and living from that space. And that's what spiritual fitness is, right? It's like having the courage to be that perfect presentation of a person that we show everybody in public. And then also that beautiful, messy, flawed, struggling human, just trying to keep it together behind the scenes. That person's amazing too. And that person is real.
Wow. You just gave us a great coaching example, right? Of how to find one's legacy, how to find one's significance, not success, right? How we define the words. What would be the first step though? If someone's listening to this and they go, Kate, I want to do that. I really do. What is the first step they should take?
Wow. The first thing that comes to mind, and I almost feel people rolling their eyes or thinking, that can't lead to success. That's so whatever. But it's to sit quietly in a room alone. One of my favorite quotes ever in life is from Blaise Pascal, and it says, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone.
Oh, yes. I remember that quote. Yeah.
And I think, and that's our culture. And that is a practice that I don't want to say I've mastered anything, but that I have cultivated and do every day. I call it my sit and stare time. And
I sit. See, there you go.
Stare out the window or straight ahead. I let myself process. I let myself reflect. I check in with myself like I would a child. How are you doing? What do you need? What's working? Who can you reach out to for support? Stuff like that. And spending that time. And again, it builds this inner musculature where you become a different person. You change your life because you've got your focus and energy where it counts and where it matters. And that's your truth. And that's your power. Not everyone, a lot of people have forgotten that they even have access to this. And so yes. I feel like it is my duty and mission in life to remind everyone and give you the tools and exercises and be right there beside you, cheering you on, because I believe in you. And I think some people, we talk about seeing people, some people don't have anyone who really believes in them. I believe in you, not because I've known you 10 years. I may not know you at all, but I believe in you because you are a human and you are a child of God. The end.
Wow. Well, you've just unpacked your book. Thank you for that. Everybody, I want to say I'm reading your book, The Full Spirit Workout. I mean, I can't wait to see that. And I love the passion that you wrapped up with, right? I was thinking about, sit and stare. That's such a powerful comment. You've given us great lines throughout this whole podcast. I remember hearing, how cultures are different, right? And this was told to me once that, like in the US culture, if somebody's on their email, and they'll really look like they're really busy, the door to their office is open, most people will not disturb them. But if someone is staring out the window, and, they'll think that they can come in and ask them a question. But what's unique about that is it's completely different in Japan, I was told. It's just the opposite. If you see somebody who is staring out the window, that's when you don't disturb them. And if they're just doing busy work on their computer, it's fine. So it's interesting that culturally, yeah.
I just had a physical reaction to that. Yeah, because what you were describing, I think of if you're at an office staring out the window, what are people going to do? Hey, get back to work. What are you doing? Get it together. And it's just like, I am working. That's something I've had to, and I love my dad. He is a fabulous man, but he has that energy of, hey, hon, what are you doing today? What are you working on? What are you achieving?
Yes,
and I remember when I started doing all this, I said very calmly, you know what, Dad? I'm not doing anything today. And he kind of paused and it was a Tuesday. It wasn't a Sunday. And he said, oh, that sounds really great. And because I think I owned it. And I was just like, I am shamelessly doing nothing. I'm not achieving, actually, you know what I'm achieving today? Inner peace. You know what I'm achieving? Relaxation.
Wow, that's so perfect. I know I'm laughing because, again, I'm going to bring up my production and right-hand person, Matthew. He always is telling me I need some time to think, I need some quiet time. And I'm a manic person like you. I'm going to the next thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? So again, Matthew, I know you're listening, but there's other people who are listening to this podcast. I think it's always a double-edged coin, right? And that's the key, right? But the key is to, working is concentrating too. And there's times that we have a break, take a walk. I find nature is such a help for that. And then at the other times is, we do need to do some hard work too. So I find it's that balance in life, right? That blend, I think, is a better word, because I'm not sure balance. It's not 50-50, right? There is a blend that makes the difference. Wow, Kate, there's so much here. I want to end with a glad to be here share out, I call it, right? Which is we just get to share. So why were you glad to be here for this last hour with everybody?
I'm glad to be here because I felt a genuine, authentic, beautiful connection with you. And while I can't see them, I have no idea who's here, how many people are here. I can feel your listeners here. I can feel this conversation adding hope and value and inspiration to people, whatever that means to them, whatever they needed to take away from this. I trust that they have that and they're going to hopefully incorporate something from it, treat themselves better, treat other people better, finally do that thing that they've always wanted to do, finally get rid of that thing they've needed to get rid of for some time. Whatever it is, I'm not here to say what it is, whatever just came to your mind, So I'm just glad to be here in the spirit of connection and in the spirit of having conversations beneath the surface level, conversations that make us think, but more importantly, make us feel and open our hearts to new possibilities and experiences and make us happy to be alive. Wow.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to say I'm glad to be here just to go deep with you. This has been an incredible hour. I can't wait to see how many people get to benefit from your insights. I'm so excited that you've actually did the hard work to put a book together that they can have and share those insights. I know I learned a lot. I'm grateful for your energy. I'm grateful for your passion. And I'm grateful for the joy that is just exuberating from this. One last question. What do you want to leave somebody with? Is there a mantra? Is there a takeaway? Is there a quote in your life that you live? What would you leave them with?
I will leave you with this. You are so powerful and you can do anything that you decide is important enough.
With that, let's all rejoice. Gratitude. Glad to be here. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, everybody. Get the book. It's awesome. You are awesome. Glad to be here. Gucci out.